First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rukal Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth. A shout out to Yakim that's out there on the four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. And I'm going to say straight out that this is probably going to be a two-part thing because there's a lot of articles that have come up, but I'm going to start from the top here. As we know that Trump has been flip-flopping on the whole North Korea subject because America knows it can never subdue North Korea unless they give up their weapons, just like they said that they was going to do Muammar Gaddafi style, saying if he didn't give up his weapons. Well, Muammar Gaddafi was attacked and was murdered because he did give up his weapons. So, truth be told there, that the whole coup was staged there. They sent in the terrorists, the same ones that they're sending into Syria now. They just changed the name again. So now it's the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are the same terrorists that overthrew Muammar Gaddafi and now are looking to overthrow the government of Bashar al-Assad in guise of fighting ISIS. Same bullshit that's been going on for a long time. Anyhow, U.S. officials crossed into North Korea to prepare Trump-Kim talks, report. U.S. officials have arrived in North Korea to start preparations for still unconfirmed talks between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un. The Washington Post reported after conflicting signals from the United States president on the meeting's fate. It is a tale because that's what America does. Is it tells tall tales, because they don't tell the truth about anything. They lie. Former U.S. Ambassador to South Korea, Sung Kim, crossed into North Korea on Sunday to hold talks with Second Vice Foreign Minister Chu Sun-hai. A source familiar with the matter told the paper. The U.S. envoy is accompanied by Allison Hooker. Yeah, what a name, because America is not known as the whore. Hooker, the Korea specialist on the National Fucketary Council. I call it fucketary because everything that America has is done by fuckery, by trickery, by telling tall tales. And an undisclosed official from the Defense Department, source said. Okay, and then we got a follow-up to that. Trump says he's having very productive talks with North Korea on reinstating summit. Yeah, because of course, like everything else, though, they want to remove Kim Jong-un, but they know they can't get in there unless he gives up his weapons. U.S. President Trump says very productive talks are underway with North Korea on holding the June 12th summit in Singapore. Talks on reinstating the meeting came within 24 hours of Trump's previously absurd cancellation. It was totally absurd because of the fact that Kim Jong-un was wanting but you know that Esau always wanted to go to war, right? Okay, here's some more. Of course, Esau's delaying the feed, because we know Esau's a piece of shit, right? Right. Russian military personnel killed in shelling carried out by terrorists in Syria, and we know that America is supporting the terrorists, and I got some footage I want to show you as well. Russian servicemen have been killed in shelling carried out by the terrorists in Deir ez-Zor province in eastern Syria, the Russian Defense Ministry said. Terrorists attacked Syrian and Russian troops, and the latter was forced to respond, according to the military of defense. A total of 43 terrorists were killed in the clashes, and 6 vehicles were also destroyed, the ministry stated. Again, there's other things that are going on here, but you know as well as I do that what's happening, though, is that they want America out of there, because I can show you what's going on with the so-called Syrian Democratic Forces, which is really Free Syrian Army, which is really the terrorist. They just changed the ISIS flag back into now Syrian Democratic Forces. So here's what's going on. Oh, did I mention the murder and bloodshed going on in Ashdod? Hold on a second. And this is another website, and they show you what's going on.
Tensions between the local population and the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, SDF, are growing. Protests against the SDF have recently erupted in the cities of Manbij, Hasaka and Raqqa. The predominantly Arab local population protested against behaviour and policies, including forced conscription, which had been implemented by the SDF. Forces of the US-led coalition were even forced to intervene in the situation in Raqqa in order to stop infighting between the Kurdish YPG and local Arab units. The SDF and the SDF-held area is de facto dominated by Kurdish YPG/YPJ militias and their political wing, PYD. This is also one of the factors triggering tensions with the local population. 11 militant groups, including Failaq al-Sham and the Free Idlib Army, have merged in the Syrian province of Idlib, forming a new Turkish-backed force entitled Jabhat al-Wataniya Militariya, the National Front for Liberation. According to local observers, the formation of this military group is a part of the Turkish plan to increase its influence in the militant-held parts of the provinces of Idlib, Latakia and Aleppo. From May 29th to 30th, the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, struck at least 65 targets in the Gaza Strip. The targets were allegedly belonging to Hamas and the Islamic Jihad movement, and included facilities allegedly manufacturing rocket launchers and rocket engines. The IDF also claimed that its forces are operating in Gaza. This round of escalation started with mortar shelling from Gaza early on May 29th. Throughout the day, Palestinian forces launched at least 70 mortar shells and rockets at Israeli targets. The situation is developing.
And you could best believe that's a false flag to continue the war. Hold on a second, because Israel has been known to cooperate. They control the Hamas group, by the way, so that way they can say, oh, well, they fired on us, so we're just going to bomb the shit out of Gaza. So Hamas works for Israeli state, Amalek. Continuing onward, Donald Trump, the holding company of Esau, Amalek, the Rothschilds, Trump flips off the rest of the world, losing friends and allies. You know, this is what we've been talking about for a while, about all the nations shall hate the whore, which is America, the harlot. With the White House driven by policy feuds, Trump has been tearing up agreements and treaties right and left, as well as threatening military action and sanctions. This has left its allies wondering if the United States is in fact an ally. See, they're like, U.S., friend or foe. On the same day that China, which is Moab, and the U.S. announced a temporary moratorium on trade sanctions by both countries on each other's exports, China Daily, the English language official newspaper of the Chinese government, Moabites, ran a full-page article about how the U.S. was losing the confidence of friends and allies around the globe as the Trump administration tears up one long-standing international bilateral agreement after another. So, they're beginning to really question, do they really want to do business with the United States? Fuck this asshole, basically, is what they're coming up with. And then there's Der Spiegel, the leading weekly news magazine in Germany, a key U.S. NATO ally, which recently ran a cover depicting Trump as a raised middle finger, flipping the bird at Europe. It's a jarring visual image of how European governments and citizens are viewing Trump's decision to pull the United States out of a UN-approved six-nation agreement, the P5+1, largely negotiated by the prior Obama administration to halt Iran's nuclear fuel enrichment program for 15 years in return for lifting sanctions on the country, which, pretty much is like having a PayPal account. PayPal sucks, and if you're to buy, sell, or trade on eBay, you have to have PayPal. So they're making double the money, and PayPal doesn't even give you the money right away. They hold your money if you're a new seller on there. And you get ripped off because people can make false claims. Isn't that what the United States has done here? Think about it. Everything they've gotten is by fuckery. But wait, there's more. India and Iran, that is Iran and Persia, dropped dollar and oil trade to bypass U.S. sanctions report. India will reportedly pay for Iranian oil in rupees as the two countries seek to bypass the U.S. economic pressure against Tehran. Industry officials have told the Sputnik news agency under the deal, the payments for oil will be made through India's state-run UCO Bank, which has no U.S. exposure. The countries are also discussing the barter-like system to avoid U.S. sanctions, Sputnik reports. So, well, remember BRICS? India is a part of that, which is known as Edom. So here's some more going on here, because, like I said, Syria's getting fucking tired of America. They've been fucking tired of America in there. 2 U.S.-backed terrorists mysteriously assassinated in eastern Syria. Damascus, Syria. 2 fighters from the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces were found dead somewhere in the west countryside of Deir ez-Zor as more civilians protest the Kurdish militia in neighboring Raqqa. The slain fighters both belonged to Arab tribes of South Haska, were traveling on Al-Kufi Road in West Deir ez-Zor countryside, and they were kidnapped by masked assailants. 4 days later, both found killed by gunshots and dumped on the side of the road. So this sounds like it was Gomer that had done this. Syrian Defense Forces, the terrorists, blame Harakat al-Qam for the attack, vowing to reveal the culprits and bring them to justice. Yeah, the only justice is get the fuck out of there, but, you know, of course, like everything else, though, we know who's bringing them in there, and justice is that all you motherfuckers pay for what you've done to conspire against we, the true Hebrew Israelites. You didn't even want us to know that we were the real Hebrew Israelites. All you bastards had conspired to keep this lie up that the Amalekites are the Israelis. Well, they are the Israelis, which means that they just run the Israeli state. These are Edomites. Amalekites, if you will. Harakat al-Qam is a small rural insurgency cells in northern Syria which focuses on forcing the withdrawal of Kurdish YPG SDF forces and PYD-led government from what they consider to be occupied territory. Again, you know, this is talking about Turkey, Gomer. Using small vehicles and limited arms, the force committed several hit-and-run attacks on YPG patrols, killing a number of them and causing some damage later on. The group started to perform high-profile attacks using IEDs and targeting high-ranking members of the YPG and the Syrian terrorist forces. Because all these people in Syria are terrorists, by the way. So let's see if I can get one more article in here. Fountain of lava burst forth from Kauai's Fissure 8. And I do have some visual of this. Fissure 8, a volcano on Hawaii's Big Island, spewed hot currents of lava. Technically referred to as curtain of fire, the hot lava reached heights of 61 meters. Kauai volcano erupted on May 3rd, and there is no indication yet as to when the explosive eruptions might end. Okay, and I'm just going to wait for part 2 of this because I just seem to be running out of time. So shalom until part 2.